What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more hardcore, back with another tune from my friend Roberto, aka Formek. He's been making tunes for a long time, going back to like the very early 2000s, I think. He then kind of made some tunes in some other areas, I think like psychedelic trance and like Big Beat. I don't know if Big Beat. I remember reading on the Discogs profile, but I should ask him because I do converse with him. He has helped me get a number of hardcore records over the last few years, so shout out to Roberto not only for his productions, not only for his mastering on different labels, including his own Overdrive, or Overdrive Limited, but also for being a very helpful and cool person as well. So this is a tune, I'm fairly certain I reacted to it on my old channel, and the reason I know this is because I remember asking Roberto at the time where the sample came from, and he actually said, you know, I've made a lot of tunes and, you know, taken samples from different places. He couldn't remember where it came from, actually, so yeah, I'm still wondering what the sample is from, and for half a second I thought it was from this old sci-fi movie. I was convinced of it, but then I went back and checked the movie, and the line in the movie was a little bit different than I remembered, and indeed a little bit different from the sample here, even though it's kind of in the same territory. It's basically threatening someone like, oh, you've done something terrible and you are going to suffer, you know, you're going to have to face the High Council. But yeah, like I said, even Roberto didn't remember where he got the sample from this one, but I really do enjoy it. I think it's a case where the sample notably enhances the atmosphere and vibe of the track, which is already great. So yeah, this is from his Pulsar release, which came out on Cenobite. I mentioned it before, how much I enjoy the Cenobite label. Just love this sound of like, you know, wicked, acidic, psychedelic, sort of atmospheric hardcore. Really do love the sound. This whole record is great. It took me a while to get, and I actually ended up getting it through Roberto, you know, because someone he knew, I think, was selling, not getting rid of, but like selling a used copy of it, and I was able to get it, and I'm very happy to have it, not only because I, you know, want to have as many Cenobite records as I can, but Formek's tunes are kind of what brought me into the sort of my modern obsession with hardcore. I've been listening to hardcore going back to like 97 at least, like maybe even late 96, certainly by 97. And it's always been an interest of mine. I used to go to these parties in Southern California. They were called Hard to the Core, and it was one room hardcore, one room jungle or drum and bass. And so I heard like a lot of good hardcore back in the day, but when I was getting records like starting after 98, I just started to focus on acid techno and acid trance, and you know, you don't have unlimited money, so hardcore was always a secondary pursuit, even though I did buy some hardcore records. But 2015 or so, I got back into hardcore in the sense that I was like, you know what, I want to like try to get more hardcore vinyl. I've always enjoyed it, but I, you know, maybe feel like I want to get more into it. And then about a year and a half after that, like 2017, I encountered one of Roberto's tracks, No Mortal Ever. And I was like, oh my god, like this is what I've been looking for. And so I've tried to get as many of Formek's tunes as I can. So this was one that was harder to get. So once I finally was able to get a copy, I was very happy. So with all that set up, let's get to it. This is Keeper of the Wicked by Formek on his Pulsar release on Cenobite. Cenobite 22, 2016. So here we go. This is Keeper of the Wicked. Right side, yes. Right side is in W-R-I-T-E, just to be clear.
I've spent my entire life as keeper of the wicked. Thousands of years, my only solace, knowing the world is kept safe from your kind. But I would do anything to save Azeroth.
Great intro. You could use it as a starting record, but you could also like hard mix this in and then right here. aggressive synth layer, or at least like, edgy, mysterious synth layer. There's also that angelic, airy sort of vocal pad, whatever that was.
And so the demon blood within you will be your prison.
Does anyone know what this is from? Please tell me. But it's coming up. The part I really like, the sample bit I really like. At the end of the measures, like twisting it inside out and then letting it go again.
I've spent my entire life as keeper of the wicked. Thousands of years, my only solace, knowing the world is kept safe from your kind. On my first
It's a really great sample set for a hardcore track, whatever it's from. Being like imprisoned and keeping the wicked at bay, and that being a source of solace that, I prevented the world from having to deal with your kind. Whatever, it's a very wicked sample. Fits, again, the sample is wicked, the overall atmosphere is wicked. The synth work is everything.
I've spent my entire life as keeper of the wicked. Thousands of years, my only solace, knowing the world is kept safe from your kind. But I would do anything to save Africa.
That is a hard as nails outro. Love it. Again, like with a lot of hardcore tracks, you don't have a lot of time to mess around. I mentioned this as a DJ. I mix a lot of different styles. I'm perhaps most known, not like known, but most people who follow my mixes are perhaps into my acid techno mixes. I also do a lot of acid trance mixes, Goa trance, psytrance, and indeed hardcore. And I would say, even though I enjoy mixing it maybe more than any other style, acid techno is right on the same level. But yeah, I enjoy mixing hardcore maybe the most of all, but it does have like more challenges than other styles. The tracks tend to be shorter, so again, that's like not even that short of a hardcore track. I think it's almost 5 minutes. Is that right? Let me see. Keeper of the Wicked, 4.5, 4:25. But yeah, I mean, for a hardcore track, that's about standard, maybe even slightly on the longer end. Now, granted, there are some tracks that are more than 5 minutes or even longer than that, but generally speaking, tracks are shorter, so you don't have a lot of time as a DJ to just kind of like enjoy the tune and, rock out and so on. Like, you really do kind of have to be like beat matching and, getting ready to do like a quick transition, whether it's like a, 32 and like kill switch, bring in the new one fully, or like maybe it's a soft mix between two kind of like breakdown, kind of like pad heavy sample sections, and you just kind of do the transition. But basically, you don't have a lot of time to mess around. So yeah, it's another one where like it feels like it goes by really quick, but that's just because in some respects, for more DJ hours I've spent mixing like acid trance and acid techno, where a lot of the tracks are like 6-7 minutes, sometimes even longer. And you do have a bit more time to not only like, do more DJ stuff like, beat juggling, even while you're still waiting for like the main section of the tune that's playing, and You know, maybe bringing in a vocal sample from the tune that's about to play, sort of hinting, you know, what's coming for people who may know that coming track. Like, you can do a lot more of that stuff. Not that you can't beat juggle or, you know, hint stuff, and there are all sorts of DJ tactics that I do when I mix hardcore. My only point is that, like, it's really, like, you have to, like, keep at it. You don't have time to sit back and relax. So yeah, when I was listening to that, it did seem like, wow, that's, you know, it's very short, but again, that's sort of that's the name of the game in hardcore. So, although again, shout out to those hardcore tracks which do push like 5 minutes or even more. I do love a longer hardcore tune. But yeah, let me know what you think of that. I really do enjoy it. Maybe my favorite on the record is W32. We'll talk about that tune more at some point. I do have more to say about it. We may have a surprise. But ultimately, I really do enjoy this one a great deal. I think it's like on the same level as W32. Again, there's not a bad tune in the bunch. And it's funny, like Pulsar, I do like it very much. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite. Again, like with W32, Tell the People, which he did with Danny Tribe, Keeper of the Wicked, Dangerous Situations, they're all great. But it's funny, I'd be curious. I don't know if I've ever asked Roberto why Pulsar was chosen as the like title track of the tune or of the record. It is the longest track. Maybe, you know, that could have been part of it. But yeah, it's just a brilliant record, and once again, I'm very happy to have it. So shout out to Cenobite, shout out to Roberto. Big fan of your work, big fan of you as a person. So yeah, it's cool when musicians turn out to be cool people like behind the curtain as well. So anyway, let me know what you think of this one. Other than that, I will see you next time. Peace.